Hey guys, today we'll be finding out if this sequence converges or not. So we will be talking about squeeze theorem in this video and we'll be taking its help in solving this question. So the question is, does this sequence minus 3 to the power n over n factorial converge? So how are we going to do this? So the squeeze theorem, let me give a brief overview on what squeeze theorem is. The squeeze theorem states that if you have three sequences and they're in this order, let's say, and if limit of an to is equal to the limit going to infinity of cn, if they both are equal and let's say they are L, then we also know that the limit of Pn is also equal to the same number, so this is what squeeze theorem says. So for it to be applicable, then it has to be this. So an should be less than or equal to bn, and then similarly bn should be less than or equal to cn. And if the two outward sequences in this inequality have the same limit tending to infinity, obviously, then the limit of Pn tending to infinity will also be the same number. So it means that it will also be converging to the same number. So this is what squeeze theorem tells us. And so let me erase this. We don't need this for solving the question. And from this theorem, the squeeze theorem, we can come up with a corollary, that is, if limit n tends to infinity is equal to absolute value of an is equal to 0, then limit of n tending to infinity for an is also equal to 0, or whatever. Let's substitute this with L, then this will also tend to L, or whatever it is. Let's say 0 for this case. And how this came into being is you just applied squeeze theorem, and that is this. So yeah, this is the bound you used to get this. So we will be using this corollary for solving this question. So now, enough of the overview, let's dive into the question. So this is, we have minus 3. So let's do this. So limit n tends to infinity. Let's use the absolute value. So if we are to use the absolute value, then we will get this. The minus sign will not be doing anything because of the absolute sign, and so this is equal to this now, right? Nothing confusing till now. So now as you can see, the n tends to infinity, and it starts from 1 and goes on to infinity. So whatever number you use from 1 to infinity, this term will always be a positive term. So it starts from 3 over 1 and then goes on and on and on, but all the other terms will also be positive. So we can say that the lower bound is 0 for this. So the lower bound is 0. Now we need to find an upper bound to use the squeeze theorem, right? So let's expand this. And what I mean by expanding is doing this is equal to, so 3 to the power n is something like this: 3 times 3 times 3, 3 times 3 times goes on, and then again 3, right? And for n factorial, it is 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times da 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 da, goes on till n. Okay, so now you have to use logic over here. And what I mean by logic is, let's look at these terms. Okay, so will the result of the multiplication be less than 1 or greater than 1? So it'll obviously be less than 1, right? Because 3 cancels 3, and 3 times 3 is obviously less than 4 times 5. So we can say that this is less than 1. Now again, is this less than 1? It is less than 1, right? Because, or no, it is greater than 1. Whoa, how was I tripping? 9 is obviously greater than 2, so this is greater than 1. And obviously, let's keep 3 by n as it is. So this is an important step. Stay with me on this one. So can I say that 3 to the power n over n factorial is less than or equal to 3 times 3 over 1 times 2 times this term, 3 over n? Can I? I think I can, because this term, the entire term that will be over here, is less than 1. So 3n over n factorial will be less than these terms, because the terms in between, and that is, let me use this, that is these terms in between, it's less than 1. So what I'm basically saying is this. So let's say it is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 over, let's say 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times n. Let's just forget about all the other terms that will be over here. So what I'm saying is this is less than or equal to 9 over 2 times 3 over n. Why? Because whatever you get from multiplying 27 by, doing this mathematics, that is 27 by 1260, it is less than, I don't know if I'm confusing you guys, hope I'm not. I'm just trying to solve from, the basic idea. That there's obviously a better way of solving this, but I'm trying to, introduce some new idea, introduce logic to this. So this is less than 1, therefore making this entire term, less than this term, because this term is obviously greater than this. I hope you get it, because this term is basically, a lot of lines. Let me get rid of these lines. Let me be faster so that the video does not get too long. So this term is the same as this term, only without these three things. And since these stuffs are less than 1, we can comfortably say that this term is less than this. If you don't understand this, you can message comment down below, and I'll be more than happy to make another video or explain you in the comments. So where were we? Yep. So what we were saying is, let's get rid of this. Let's keep this box. Let's keep this box as well. Okay. So, which means 3n over n factorial is less than or equal to 3 times 3 is 9, 9 times 3 is 27, 27 by 2n. And the reason why I took this is because we need a term with n, because what we will be doing now is this. We'll be doing is 0 times 27 by 2n. Limit n tends to infinity. Oh, that's a very funny looking infinity. Is 0. Okay. Limit n tends to infinity. 27 by 2n is also equal to 0, because whenever you have the denominator as infinity and a finite number in your numerator, the output is always going to be 0. So now you can apply the squeeze theorem, right? Because the limit of the lower bound and the upper bound is limit of upper bound is equal to limit of lower bound. Therefore, this is not important. Let me erase this. Therefore, limit n tends to infinity is equal to 3n over n is equal to 0. But the question was not to find the limit of this, whether this converges to 0 or not. The question was to find the limit of this. But since I already mentioned the corollary in the beginning of the video, we can say that limit n tends to infinity 3n over n factorial will be equal to the limit of this is equal to 0. Therefore, it converges to 0. This is a little different from normal questions. Might be a little difficult, but I hope I didn't confuse you guys, and yeah, hope to see you in my next videos. Thank you for joining me on this one, guys.